Hi, we're excited to invite you to be a part of something truly meaningful. Purpose Inspired TV, a faith-based streaming channel and social media outlet focused on helping people discover and live out their God-given purpose. We're building more than just a media outlet. We're creating a like-minded community of content creators, coaches, teachers, business owners, faith leaders, and everyday people who are passionate about making a real impact, locally, nationally, and even globally. Our mission is simple but powerful. Help people in every area of life. Uplift and inspire through positive, purpose-driven, collaborate on real-world projects where there's need. Whether you create, teach, coach, or simply have a heart to serve, there's a place for you here. We believe that if you're human, you're worth helping, and together, we can reach and impact more lives than ever before. We can change lives and grow together. Our numbers are small, just like all the other platforms when they started. But as we grow, we will help you grow as a family. We will work together and pull each other up. If this sounds like something you're called to be a part of, we'd love to connect with you. We can participate on each other's shows. We can partner with each other on a cause. You can get a time slot on the channel. You can be a sponsor on the channel. Let's work together with and for a purpose. Don't just watch history, let's make it. Get inspired, Purpose Inspired TV.
Where is my high valued man? Where is my high valued man? We got a great conversation we're going to have tonight. And I got a special guest. And welcome to the stage, Doug B. How in the world are you? We got the
Hey,
there you go.
Hey, I like that song. You got me. I'm vibing. I like it. Hey, y'all.
In the world, what's that? We got a comment. What is that? With Autism Homestead. I'm not sure what that is, but we're gonna move on.
Let's.
All right. Yeah, we was discussing. Well, I guess we could talk about everything, but we were talking about a hot topic that's going on over the internet. Women trying to find that high value man. So we've been talking about that.
Wow. Okay. All right. High value man, huh?
Yep. So I think we might be bumping heads, but that's fine. We can get somewhere. Just a little bit. I don't know though. You may find out that we're a little closer on this thing than you think. I don't know. Okay.
We'll see.
All right.
See. So what's your thought? What's your thoughts on this?
On the so I got trying to figure which way. What is a high value man?
Yes.
Or what is a high value man?
Yeah, let's start with how do you define a high value man?
I don't have a solid answer because it's a floating scale.
Okay. All right.
I say it's a floating scale because it's certain people that they might be a low value man to certain women and a high value man to another. So that's why I say it's a floating scale. But from what I'm seeing online, and if I can get the definition from online, and some of them they say they have to make 100,000 to 150,000 and above, and I even heard some people say it's got to be up to 300,000 because of all the, if they're surviving off 150,000, they need another 150,000 just for them. So you see,
Okay. Okay.
So high power, so that means it got to be a high paying job, high energy job, have his own house, cars, money, and some even say he can't have kids, so they can have kids, but he can't have kids. So it's kind of like I said, it's a sliding scales, but the definition I've been seeing online is pretty high. It's pretty high.
Okay.
So I guess we can start there.
Yeah. So when you say, so for me, $100,000, that ain't no money. So when you start saying that that's a high value man, you know, for some people I get it. For some people I understand that. And I shouldn't say it's no money. It is money. It definitely is. That was probably a real elitist kind of statement that I just made. So I take that back. I take that back.
I tell you where you at.
I take that back. I take that back. So I'm gonna back up and not say that. But what I will say is, when we start talking about high value man, you got to figure out what your value is. How do you define value? And some of the things that I heard you say, you know, he has to make so much money. If he's making 150,000 now, that's not enough because he needs to make 300 to be able to take care of him and me. You know, I've never been of the mindset that it's somebody's responsibility to take all of that, take care of me in that way. Now, do I believe that is a thing? Absolutely. Look, Bible say the man don't work, he don't eat. That's what it say now. That's what it say. That's in the book. So, and that when you take a person and you pull them into your space, that there are some expectations around that. But when you start putting these numbers on it and start talking about what that looks like, you got to also think about what you bring into the table. You want to find a high value man in low value places. So if you start thinking about, you know, you in a low value place, but you want something up here, you're gonna have to bring your game to the table too. And I'm a little bit different on this part of it, because one thing I cannot stand is double standards. I can't stand it. My husband and I talk about it all the time. I can't handle double standards like that. So now I do believe in helping you meet. Help me. You should be meeting. And then my addition to you should be helping. But I also understand that there's a huge role that you have to play in terms of what you're bringing to the table as well. So when you talk about a high value man and you can't find a high value man, where are you looking? Are you looking in low value places? And what are you bringing to the table when you're looking? Because high value men are out there, but you have to define what that value really is. And are you thinking just financial? Because if you're thinking just money, there are a lot of people that make a lot of money that's real nasty to people, and aren't good people to be connected to. They may be derailing your purpose. There's so many things that could be connected. So it's got to be bigger than money.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, let's talk what I see is I don't want to say this the wrong way, but a lot of people say, well, since we're talking about women looking for a high value man. Yeah. I hear a lot of women say, I know my value. And then I'm talking about like when I see them calling into different relationship shows. I know my value and I know I deserve a man that make $200,000. Then they say, okay, tell me about yourself. Oh, I'm like, please don't get me wrong. I don't want to put nobody down. But let's say somebody
I know where you're going.
I'm 5'3". I'm 300 pounds. I got 6 kids with 6 baby daddies, and I don't work. And I know my value, so I deserve this high value man. And I'm like, well, so your value is good to have. Self-confidence, self-pride, self-love is good to have that. But I think a lot of times people's self-value is not the value on the street.
Oh, that's good. That's
It's not
good.
the same value on the streets.
Okay.
You thinking I deserve this, but then our society here in America is kind of is a lot of people look at it's kind of like European. A lot of people what you look at on TV, kind of like sexual standards.
I hear you.
And that's what a lot of people are looking at. That I'm not saying that's everybody don't like that, but it's kind of like what's in the magazines, what's on TVs, and that's kind of like the standard, a certain weight, a certain look. But yeah, you got to love yourself. But then you don't meet nothing. You decide that I got this value myself, and then I'm wondering why those high value men not chasing after me. You're not. Your value at home is not the same out on the streets.
Wow.
So you got to meet the man where you at instead of trying to go up here and you're getting upset and saying there's no good men out there.
So are we saying then that just hearing what you're saying, are we saying then that a woman who has a standard or who has established her desire, what it is that she's looking for, are you saying that because she doesn't come to the table with the exact same things that she's of a lower value on the street?
No, well, no. It's kind of like some people are, I believe, how do I say? I didn't even think about how to say this. Sometimes people are reaching beyond their means. They're reaching beyond their value. So now,
that's so hard. Listen, I try.
Okay. See,
because I mean, how are we valuing people? Like you can't say it's a beyond. It may be. I can tolerate. I can deal with you even saying something like, it may be above your pay grade, or that might be a bit above your this. But the flip side of that is y'all don't want to talk about. You don't want money to be a measuring stick. But you want to say if you don't have enough, then you can't come to me. It can't go both ways. So
what you mean for as far as women?
Yeah.
No, wait, man. Well, that's no. Let me ask you this: would you date a guy from?
Nope.
Would you talk to someone that's working at McDonald's?
No.
Okay. Guys will. They'll talk to a woman at McDonald's. So the men don't look at the money. They don't look at the cars.
What they talking to her for?
They have to have. So
what they talking to her for?
It just start. They just look at to try to start off with the looks, and if they're a nice person. So a man to talk. If you're at McDonald's, I guess a single man see a nice looking woman at McDonald's, and she's nice, and they talk. He would take her and date her, whatever. But
that is not true.
That is true.
No. Now wait,
man.
Hold on. Let me clear this up. You're right. A man. Let me not say it's not true, because it is true. Because you'll find a man, like I have this philosophy. Any woman in the world can have just about any man in the world.
I agree.
Any woman in the world can have just about any man in the world. Now, he may have some things where he don't want to bring it out in public. There may be some stipulations behind it. She may not be the one that's out front. He may do all this other crazy stuff. And if she's willing to settle for that, hey, who am I to judge? I wouldn't, but hey, if you want to be the nighttime creep girl. But any woman in the world, I believe, I don't care what she look like, she can have one eye in the middle of her head. Somebody, and just about almost anybody, if she says the right things and does the right things, she can pretty much have all of that.
Yes.
So I believe that. But I also believe that there are those stipulations that we just talked about that go along with that. So to me, that doesn't make you a high value man because you have a lot of money, but you keeping me in the closet. Or I can't come out in public. Like I'm the nighttime one. I can't be the daytime one. That right there is foolishness to me. So,
but the men are not the ones. I say a lot of times the men are not the ones that's putting that. So okay, a woman. A lot of women have a long list of what they want from a man. The man to have, a man to do. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the men have a very short list. doesn't take that much.
And we
It's not
should do,
required.
and we're responsible for that. How?
No, that's what I'm saying. So the women are the ones that are saying he needs this, he need this, he need this, he need this, he need all these things before I even talk to him.
Yeah, but can we not have a standard? Is that not? Is there something wrong with having a standard?
Yeah, you can have a standard, but what I'm saying is when you are requiring all these things, but you can't make. Oh, is that the right thing? You can't.
You're not bringing the same thing to the table.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
You're not meeting all those requirements that you're requiring.
I understand.
So there is a man that will accept where you are. But a lot of times women like, I don't want that. I want that up there.
Which is true. Because again, I can still have a standard while I'm on my come up. So I don't have to lower my standard. Now, I agree. You should be working on yourself to make yourself something that's more valuable than for what you can do for somebody sexually, because or how you can fulfill a certain need. Somebody that needs somebody to cook for them or whatever. Somebody just needs somebody to beat on or whatever it is. I don't know. For whatever reason that people would take you in that and would be accepting of something that they believe is below their standard, because men have standards too. The thing is, y'all standards just waver because it always come down to one thing. So as long as it can, y'all will get around the one eye in the middle of the head if you can make that work. We have we look at things a little bit differently. And see, the thing is, you all aren't always looking for security. Women are always looking for one or two things or a couple of things at the very least, and that is safety and security. And if we can find safety and security, those things will cause us to feel more fulfilled in the relationship, make us feel more comfortable. We feel like we can actually be in this and be well in this situation, live well in this situation. Nobody wants to accept, I won't say nobody, because a lot of people around here doing it. Some of y'all dropping your standards all the way to the floor just to have somebody. I don't know. Y'all bought into that piece of man is better than no man at all thing. I don't know, whatever it is. But for a lot of people, they're not willing to sacrifice their level of safety and comfort for companionship. Now, the good part about it for men is there are a lot of people who are. And they're like, look, just to say I got somebody, he can do this, he can do that, he can be this, he can be that. And it's not a problem. But I do think, I hear what you're saying in terms of bringing it to the table and being able to give you, if you're going to ask for no kids, then why you got 6? If you're going to say I can't have any kids and you got 6, I get that. I do. So like I said, I know I'm going to be kind of on your side and not on your side a little bit, but because I get that. And again, I got 6 brothers, so I look at things from all sides of the equation. So I get it. But when you start to talk about the things that really turn people on and off in those kinds of situations, it concerns me if we're going to say that a woman shouldn't have a standard because she's not at the standard that she is.
No, I'm not saying you should. I believe, every woman should have a standard.
It should just match where she is.
But what I'm saying, okay, is like, I guess it's like two sides of it. Like, I guess single with no kids, single with kids.
Okay.
So now I'm looking at the one with kids. She got several kids. So I'm just making up a person.
Yeah.
Just found somebody, several people in the neighborhood, in the hood, and got children by them. So now you got, let's just make up a number. 4 babies, 4 baby daddies.
Okay.
And now the attitude is, the next man better have enough money to take care of me and my children. And he better not have any kids.
Ooh.
And he better have a good job. He better have a house. It's like, so that's what a lot of women are saying. He need all this stuff to come take care of me and my kids. And so now I'm like, why? it's plenty of single women out there with no kids in a better situation than that. So it's like the attitude is, you better come and take care of me and mine. And then so a guy's like, now you got to deal with the baby daddies.
All four.
Like, wait, how did you had a baby with him and him and him and him, and now you got standards with me. that's
Because people mature, they learn from their mistakes and they grow up and they decide that they want better for themselves, and they have an opportunity to do that. Everybody does. They have an opportunity to grow and glow and all these other things. So perhaps when she was making these decisions in the past, maybe now she's matured to a place where her decisions are better. And now she's ready she wants something more for herself and her 4 kids. So is she wrong for having a desire to have something better for herself and her children? To maturing to a point.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
So,
but is it wrong to be angry with him to look for someone with no kids?
So for me, I think that's a double standard. You know how I feel about double standards. I just think double standards are a way of it's a very strong tool of manipulation, and I don't like it. So I call that out whenever I see it. And that to me is a double standard. So yeah, ladies, if you're doing that, you did wrong. Because again, you can't expect someone to accept the life that you had before you and before that person arrives, but you can't accept theirs. You can't manage to deal with the fact that they have a child, or you can't manage to deal with the fact, I don't want to deal with no baby mamas. Well, he probably don't want to deal with no baby daddies either, and you got 4 of them. So not 4 of them. So if you're dealing with, if you're in that space, then yeah, I think that you need to give a little grace, and understand that person had a life before you as well. But I also do think that you have a right to say, I have something that I'm looking for that I think is going to be good for me and for my family, for my children. And in doing that, there's some stipulations that come along with being with me. And we just prove the fact that you can get somebody to be with you, but you have almost like a responsibility to you have a responsibility to kind of level up so that you can be the person that's trying to take care of you and your family, and this person is adding on to what you already have in place. But they're not responsible for coming to pick you up out the gutter and rise you to the top. I mean, it's not Pretty Woman. This is something, that's not what their responsibility is. Now, a lot of men take that on, which is amazing. But I think that it would be wrong of us as women to have a standard, but not hold ourselves to that same standard.
Yeah. I think a lot of women, I'm talking about younger women that haven't had children yet outside of marriage. They have control over, they have control over giving up the body.
Yeah.
They don't have control over getting commitment from the men. But giving up the body does not gain you commitment.
A healed man, like for me, I'm thinking like a man who's in a good place. He's not looking for chaos. He's not looking for chaos and confusion. And women need to understand that you attract what you're ready for, not what you fantasize about. So whatever it is that you're ready for, that's what you're going to be attracting. That's what's going to be coming towards you. And you have to ask yourself, why do I keep attracting this? What about me is not ready? What am I displaying that shows that I'm not ready for anything more than that? Not if it's going to be anything that's a substantial or a significant relationship. what do you do then when you're in a situation where you're trying to decide what works, what doesn't work, what things about me cause me to have these limitations or these very high standards, and do they match up? Do they match up with the people that I'm actually encountering? Am I putting myself in the right places to do that? And then when you think about something as simple as having children, not having children, that's something you have to decide whether you're going to be ready to deal with that, regardless of what kind of man it is. So that's something that you have to establish that is a standard of yours, and then be prepared to live with the consequences of that standard. Because then that may mean that you're not going to find anybody that's going to be serious with you and give you the kind of long-term relationship that you're looking for, because you're putting yourself in a box with people who don't want that.
Yeah. Even with meeting people, if he already got a couple of kids, he's not taking care of them.
Oh.
But he haven't made a commitment to you, but you're going to go ahead and give him a baby.
Yeah.
And then get mad that he's not stepping up to the plate.
Yeah.
He's not the type of person that's going to step up to the plate.
Right. So, and you see that. So, again, that's one of those things where that's the consequence of your decision making. Because if you take a look and you realize that this person has a cycle, every person that he had a baby from, every person that he was involved with before, who had his broken heart, who's out here now wanting to bust your windows out because you with him now, all that other stuff, all those, they all saw the same thing you see now. And where we mess up is we think that, oh, that was just her, not me. No, there's fruit. There's fruit falling from this tree. And every time that fruit falls, a fruit falls from an apple tree, it's going to be an apple, period. You're not going to get an orange falling from an apple tree. You're not going to get that. So if you take a look and you realize that all you see is apples on the ground, you would be stupid to think you standing in front of an orange tree. You know different. So of course we all think we the baddest. We this, we that, we got all this, we got all that. But the bottom line, when it comes down to it, when all things shake out, you have to look at the person and the patterns in their lives and then say, is this something that I want to connect myself to? Because like you just said, if he's not taking care of his other babies, you're going to have one, and what's going to happen? What's going to happen when you have one? He going to take care of yours? Because you what, special? You different? Because every one of those other women felt the same way.
Yeah.
So at some point, he's mastered the art of making you feel special. You having a baby, and then he doesn't take care of them. He's mastered that. Because I guarantee you, none of the other ladies that had babies from him are sitting somewhere saying, I never felt special. They're not saying that. They thought the same thing you think.
Yeah.
So you have to be mindful of the patterns that you see in people's lives. Because if you're not looking at the pattern, you're not ready to follow the path, period.
You said something earlier about, and I hear it all the time, people learn from their mistakes. Why do we have to make a mistake to learn when we could see and learn from other people? As a lot of the stuff is generational, or it's in the society, you see it everywhere, but it's like we got to go through it and then, I just learned from my mistake. But why? Why didn't you learn? Somebody was teaching you to not make that mistake, but you wouldn't. I don't get it. That's like, why do we always have to learn from our mistakes when I don't feel like we have to all the time?
I don't think we have to either, but that takes a level of maturity to be able to look at someone else's mistakes and get a lesson from it. Sometimes you have to go through things to get your lesson, to get whatever it is that you're meant to learn. And yes, like we've heard it all the time, you don't have to if you tell me the stove hot, I believe you. I ain't got to go touch the stove. But there are people like that is going to touch the stove. Because again, that's just, sometimes people have to experience things on their own to believe that they're real and that they can occur and will occur with them. That is very different. And it's hard when you have established that, there's a certain way that things go. And if it happens this way in somebody else's life, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to happen this way in my life. So I'm gonna try it myself, or I'm gonna believe it myself. That's why you got a world full of crackheads and a world full of crack babies. You got it all like that simply because somebody saw a crackhead and still went out and tried crack. Somebody did it.
Yeah.
And
That's not gonna happen to me.
Right. Exactly. Because, and that's the exact same. People don't think everything applies to them or that it can happen to them. So they take risk. I happen to be a person that, where it says do not push the red button, I want to push the button on that person. I want to push it. I've gotten to the place now where I don't push them because I believe that when you say it's an emergency exit, I probably shouldn't open that. But there was a time that I didn't. So don't let this doctor fool you. There was a time I was the one pushing the button and getting in trouble. So I want you to be clear that a lot of times people have to experience things on their own before they actually believe that they're true. And that is hard to, and we see it with our own kids. It's like, I'm telling you that that this is what's going to happen if you go down this road, and they go anyway. But then I challenge you to go back and ask yourself, did you walk down any roads that you were told not to go down? And again, that comes back to just where you get to in your maturity. And now I'm at a place where I can look at your lesson and learn. I ain't got to go do it myself. I don't. You climb up a tree and the branch break. I ain't got to climb up there to see if the branch is too weak to hold me. I believe it. You fail. I'm good. But again, everybody doesn't operate that way.
Well, that's I'm getting at. It seems like in our society, it's like it's so many like not wanting to listen to the elderly, not wanting to listen to the teacher, not wanting to listen to people that's teaching them, and they got to go do the opposite and get delayed, and that it leads back to the high value man.
Yeah.
You start off as a high value woman in school. You control. I believe it's certain circumstances, but I believe a little girl, you got your high value, you got the control over that to keep that value. You got the key to you got keys to it to keep maintain.
Agreed.
And a lot of people, even like I said, guys too, but we're talking about a high value man. There's a lot of they let in low valued people, and that lowers your value. Not that you value, but that person. Because let's say you got let's say there's this guy that let's go with high school graduation going on right now.
Yep.
You were popular, so this nerdy dude couldn't talk to any girls, didn't have nobody. He goes off to college, but you were popular and you got with the popular dude, and end up that didn't work out. But y'all had some kids together. So now, a couple of years later, now my man done graduated from college. He's coming back now. You want him, and you got okay. I want you to take care of me and my kids, but you ain't look at me when I was in school.
Yeah.
But now, since I got myself together, I'm considered quote unquote a high value or about to be a high value man. Now I'm of value, but when I was in school, I had no value to you. So I think that's a lot of that happens. That's
true. I got to give you that. Yeah, I got to give you that one. I do.
So I think I want to teach the girls, look, hold on to your value. What you just said, you have more access to more men than men have to women. But I think a lot of women, he's too short. I like I said, he got all these different things, all these hoops that a man have to jump.
But that's okay, because again, I'm 5'7" and a half. I can't have no short bed. Ain't nothing wrong with him. I think he's great for somebody. Just not for me. There's nothing wrong with having preferences. Women can have a preference. Women can have a preference. And a high value man isn't intimidated by your standards. He's just aligned with them. So if you have standards, if you have high standards, then he's not intimidated by that. The right high value man is not intimidated by your standards. Now, he may wonder does he have to settle to be able to meet to mingle with you? But the truth of that is, if you ain't there, yeah, he does. He may be settling, and you may put yourself in a position where you are competing or you are performing to be able to keep his attention, because you don't meet it in other ways. But then that's where you have to decide, how are you going to level up? How are you going to level yourself up? If you have 4 kids, you can't get rid of them to be with this man. That's stupid. So that's not how that happens. So then you have to, those are things that you have to then figure out how you're going to mediate that difference, so that the relationship between the two of you can still be of value to both of you. But there is nothing wrong. I will tell you, there is nothing wrong with having standards. Nothing. I think you should. But I'm with you too. Let me go back and say this, Joe, based on what you said just a minute ago. But you're right. At some point, we need to get back to teaching and get back to being very consistent in separating your value, or what men see as your value, from your need for companionship and that kind of thing. Because you will sometimes sacrifice yourself and give yourself away to people for just to have company. Even if you know that this person may be out of your league. It happens. You know that if this person is at this level and this is what they're doing, you're going to have to do something to meet them. And I don't know what that something is. Sometimes it may be an education. Sometimes it may be more experience in getting another job. It may be able to just hold his attention in some different ways. But I'm going to tell you something. Cute and fine don't last always. It does not last always. All it takes is one car accident, and guess what? That face is jacked. One bad accident or something happens. So you have to, when you start talking about high value man, you got to look at values outside of just the financial. Is that value, is he a high value man because if something happens to you, he's going to be there? Is he a high value man because he accepts you as you're trying to grow, accepts you as you are, and is willing to help you grow? There are a lot of things that you can start looking at value, but value doesn't have to always be monetary.
Right. And I got another thought on high valued man. I think of I want a football player. I want a basketball player. Now think of those.
Trust me.
But I mean, look at their lifestyle. I mean, especially if they're a star, so getting up at, all hours of the morning, working out several hours a day. A lot of times he's going to want his woman doing the same thing. Eating healthy. He's going to want his woman doing the same thing. On the go, on the move, traveling. They might be, I like to travel, but then you find out all the time, it's a lot of things comes with that high value. I'm talking about a really high value person. There's a lot comes with that. And I think a lot of people, it looks glamorous. And then I think some people get into that, they finally get their foot in the door and like, oh, no.
This isn't what I thought it was. Yeah,
no,
and it is a different world.
I can't hang. I can't keep up with this. I can't keep up with this pace. I can't keep up with this drive. I can't keep up with it. So I think you're asking for something that you really, you don't know what you're asking for.
Well, I would say that the illusion of a thing is always more glamorous than the actual thing. So once you realize, that's why I'm saying value has to be more than monetary, because you can have money and still be lonely and still be missing people and still have no connection. You can have a lot of money and be getting your head busted in every day because his frustration level is over the top and he don't know how to handle his emotions. And he lacks emotional and relational intelligence. So he struggles in those places and emotional control. So, or you could be dealing with the fact that, again, he has an affinity for lots of women. And you may be the one at the house, but you're the one in the house by yourself because, you got access to the money. You have a beautiful home, but you don't have him. He belongs to a lot of people. So when you start to think about glamorizing this concept of value, I think we have to look at value and define value differently than just financial value, what they're bringing to the
Right.
table financially, because you can have, or he can have, a break an arm. I'll talk athletes since we're in athletes. Break a leg, break an arm, depending on the sport. Break something, and be out of the game. And yes, I mean, if he hasn't played that requisite number of years to have money coming out all the time, and he got a big lump sum in the beginning, but then he spent it all, you know, everybody got, all athletes have bills and they can't get paid. Then what are you going to do if that's the thing that you're attracted to? If you were attracted to him at that space and that's what you're attracted to, what do you do then? Just you and your 4 kids. I'm still on the lady with the 4 kids. You and your 4 kids now move to the next one. Eh, eh, eh. At some point you get tired of playing that game too, because you get used up. And then they realize that they don't really want you. So then what?
Yeah.
And like I said, cute and dumb never goes together, and cute and fine don't last always. So
Nope.
you have to figure out what else makes that person valuable to you. And if it's just that runs out. Trust me, it runs out.
Yeah. So that's why it took me some years to learn it. Even, back in the Bible days, they
Mhm.
didn't get married because of love.
No.
It was a reason. So outside of that, but I believe everybody have a purpose in life. Everybody should be a solid single person
First.
fulfilling a purpose first,
Mm-hmm.
and then meeting somebody that aligns with your purpose.
Yeah, you don't have to chase what you're divinely aligned to receive. So if you're divinely aligned to receive something, you don't have to chase it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to chase it. And like you said, you have to be a whole person first, because going into any relationship, it's not 2 halves that come together to make a whole. It's 2 whole people coming together to make one whole person, one complete unit. And that's what that looks like. So you have to be whole in yourself before you can start trying to attach yourself to other people. And so often that's why we end up with so many problems in the relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Because that's where we run into
that's what I was getting at. You don't have yourself together. You're a broken person,
Mm-hmm.
meeting a broken person,
Mm-hmm.
and you're coming together. So the relationship already broken.
Yeah,
It's
of course.
already. And people getting that, they think when they say "I do," it's going to solve all my problems. No,
It does
you brought
not.
your problems in. Let's put 2 problems together.
Exactly.
I
Or
think a
5
lot
or
of people,
12.
I don't think people really understand that. They don't understand that you need to be a whole. You need to be solid. Have yourself together. Both of you need to have yourself together. Don't expect that person to love all your problems away. If you come in there with that, you just gonna. It's already messed up.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, they think when I say I do, it's a magical day. It's gonna make all the problems go away, and then day one they got problems. Like I was expecting you to love and make all my problems go away. No, you wasn't supposed to bring all those problems.
Right.
To the
Right.
table.
Yeah. You have to fix you first. Like that has to be a quest every day. I'm far from perfect, and I spend a lot of time making sure every day that I'm better than I was the day before, even if it's just in one little area or in one little
Mhm.
one little thing that I do in my life. I have to make sure that it's a little bit better than it was before, because I refuse to go into tomorrow not better than I was today. Like I don't want to walk into there not knowing something new, not having done something new, not having created a situation for myself that demonstrates that I'm somehow growing. I would hate to close my eyes and wake up and be the same as I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Have nothing to take with me into the next day. So if that's not your mindset, then you're never going to be able to compete with a high value person, because a high value person, generally what you're considering high value, and again, I'd like to expand your definition beyond financial, because again, like I said, that goes then what? So when you start talking about a high value person, high value people are constantly evolving and growing, and they have drive, and they're going after things, and they need people in their camp that's going to help that, not pull it down. So you can find yourself in a situation where you may have met the eye test, you may have even met the sex test, but what happens after all of that? What happens after all that's gone? What happens when you can't do something, or what's next? Like, what do you stand on? And it has to be a foundation that you have, some solid standing that you have for yourself, and let that meet a person who also has a solid standing, and then the two of you come together for purpose. You don't come together just for the sake of having company, because you can get a dog to have company. That's not what you're doing.
That's it. And even what you said, some women, this is what I bring. I can cook. Well, a lot of people don't even cook. We order food. I can clean. Well, you can pay somebody $20 to come clean.
Yeah.
I can give you sex. Well, if the guy not a believer, he can go get sex anywhere.
Correct.
So what else?
Right.
Marriage is too, and I think a lot of people now that we had 50-some percent, right? I guess believers and non-believers got the same divorce rate. But if they understand marriage is not for that person to make you happy, that marriage is not supposed to make you all the joy. You're supposed to come together to complete each other, to fulfill a mission. You're supposed to come together, already completed, to complete a mission.
Correct.
Not to be a leech
to
the other person.
Right.
And
or
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, that's all I was just saying that, so I think that's what a lot of marriages are. They're in such a need, and I believe they say, let's get married, and then you end up being a leech to the person, or expecting happiness, expecting all my problems solved, expecting all of this to be coming from this person, when you're supposed to be coming together, as a unit, but you're looking to that person to solve all your problems.
Yeah. So that let's be clear on that. Nobody's going to come into your life and solve all your problems. That's your responsibility. And you can have people to come in that will help you, or people that will come and be a part of that journey with you. But it's your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. That's nobody's job is to make you happy. That's something that you have to be, that comes from within. That's one of those feelings that generate from your self-worth and your self-value, and how you feel about who you are as a person when you stand up and look at you in the mirror. Because some people say, well, when it's sunny outside, it makes me happy. There are other people who say when it's raining outside, it makes me happy. I'm a rain person. I like when it's raining. So happiness is going to be based on, happiness is too fleeing. It's an emotion. It flees. It can be here today and gone tomorrow. It could be here for one thing and not for something else. So you have to have something stronger than coming together for a person to make you happy or make you anything other than, make you married. That's really what it is. Everything else, then you can come together and walk down a road or walk through a journey together of becoming something. But you have to come as something before you can start connecting yourself to other people to walk a journey. You have to bring something to the table. And I always say, if your worth is negotiable, so is your relationship. So if you have to dumb up or dumb down to fit into a situation or whatever, your relationship is just as vulnerable. It is. If your worth is negotiable, so is your relationship. That means that it's founded on something that you may not even be able to maintain. You may not be able to maintain that false self of who you are, that fake image of you that you have to put that role that you have to play to be able to maintain the attention of this person. Why not just find somebody who loves you just as you are and is willing to walk with you, as opposed to you having to fake something to fit into something that you're not?
Right. You just mentioned that happiness. I can remember talking about, that was a couple years ago. My wife would call. I don't know if we was having an argument. I don't know what it was. I was fine, but I know she asked me. She said, "Are you happy?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Are you happy?" What she was getting, I know she was getting at was, if I wasn't happy, I wanted us to break up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to. And it was hard for me to explain to her. I'm like, well, I'm happy or not, that's not changing anything to do with my commitment to be married to you.
Yeah.
They're saying, are you happy? I'm like, what's that got to do? That's my thing. Like, what's that got to do with anything? I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I got a commitment, and then I know happiness. You could be happy one day and sad the next.
Exactly. It's an emotion. It's fleeting. It's substantial.
And some people do. They make decisions and break up and all this kind of stuff because I'm not happy today. But you got to get to that maturity of, this feeling I'm having today is not going to change the commitment that I made. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm feeling this, and I don't feel the same. I don't feel the same way when we met. What's that got to do with it? Don't have nothing to do with it. We made a commitment.
Yeah. Yeah.
We made a commitment, and I choose to love you every day. Even though I'm upset today or I don't feel it today, I still made a commitment. I'm still going to be here today. I'm going to still be here tomorrow. But other people let those feelings control. And then, it's just out of control.
Yeah.
Making decisions off the floating and changing feelings.
Right. And again, you can't. You have to have something. That's what I'm saying. You have to have something more defined as value. You have to define value as something more, because that happy is something that comes and goes. It comes and goes. That's not something that you want to hang your hat on. You want to have something deeper than that, because what happens when you're not happy? Does everything fall apart? Is one thing that what happens? And another thing that gets us caught up in this is, I hear a lot of women talking about the potential that this person has, and they choose somebody's potential over their own peace. And they look at a person and say, well, this person has the potential to do this or to do that. Therefore, I'm going to put myself in a situation where I got to count on him to be at 110% and meet this target or meet this goal, or I won't be happy. So you get happy with the idea of what he would be. And when he never gets there, then then you're frustrated. You're upset. You don't want to be a part, or you're walking around and now you've made this commitment and you've had these kids and you've gone through this situation because you were not in a position to allow yourself to see who you were really connecting yourself to. Not the dream, not the illusion of where they were going, but who they are right now. And my husband and I, we do we marry people and all that other stuff, as you know, Joe. So one of the things that I remember sharing with a young couple was, you have to be happy if nothing changes outside of today. So if you marry this person now, if nothing else changes, can you live with this for the rest of your life? And you have to be able to ask yourself that question. If nothing else changes, if they don't get the contract, if he don't get if he's not going to be a rapper or whatever, like if this doesn't happen, if he doesn't get a better job, if he doesn't take care of whatever the child support bills are, so you can, whatever the situation is.
Mhm.
Are you going to be okay with that? Because you cannot marry potential. You can't connect yourself to a potential, because potential is a dream. It might be something you see in someone, but they may not see it in themselves. So then what happens? And you live your life frustrated because you've assumed that this person was going to morph into something that they may never become.
So my question, how do you balance that to what you're saying? Some women looking for that potential,
Mm-hmm.
and on the other end, there's a good man. Let's say he's probably but just say just got out of college
Uh-huh.
and haven't
Gotcha.
made it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he might get rejected because he hadn't gotten there yet. Or at the other end, you might have that, I got so much potential, I'm expecting him to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes women have a good man that's interested in them, but
Mm-hmm.
since they hadn't reached the level yet, so they reject them. So how do you come up with a balance between those two?
Yeah, so I think that has to, so there's a difference in thinking that and I'll use crackhead again, that you're thinking that you're crackhead, you're crackhead,
Crackhead.
yeah, like you're
We're talking
crackhead,
about a decent person, just a person that hadn't.
yeah, just a person. If you,
There's a crackhead, yeah, no, you need to avoid that at all costs.
right,
But
but
I
no, but
mean,
here's what, but if you're looking at this person and you're saying, we went to high school together and he was real cool, and then he got on drugs, and now he's telling me that he's going to be something else, and he's going back to being the person that he was a long time ago. You're taking a risk.
yeah,
You're taking
yeah.
a risk. That's not potential. When I think potential, I think about the person who, if you're, when we're talking about balancing it, if you're having a person who, like you said, just graduated from college, and they're starting a career, they're starting a job, and they're moving in the right direction. That's different than you saying someone who, I know he can be better when he get out of prison this time, because I know he got his
Oh
degree,
yeah, yeah.
and he
Oh,
got, he got a diploma when he was in there. So he gonna be able to get another job. And I just know how smart he is, because he's able to do this. But you've seen the last 3 or 4 times he had the same story. That's
right.
not potential. That's not latent potential. That is a decision that he's making, and you're attaching yourself to what you hope would be, but not what he's shown you. That's different than, like you said, the person who just graduated, or someone who has just started a new career path or whatever, and they are working hard, and they are putting themselves in positions to be recognized, and they're getting promotions. That's potential. But so when you talk about balancing it, you have to look at the reality of your situation. Are you saying he has potential because he's just hit this milestone, and now, but he's working hard towards the next one, and then you can see when you look at him that that's the direction that he's going? Or is this, he not even going in this direction, but I know he could? That's a whole lot different.
Okay, it should be some patterns. It should be some history for you to look at.
Yeah, it has to be something for you to be able to say, and don't go back to his Pop Warner picture like y'all like to do. Go back when he played Pop Warner. He was so nice back then. But he's 47, ma'am. Don't look at that Pop Warner picture. He hadn't been that way in 40 years. No, that's not what we're talking about. So I think you should see patterns. I think you should see behaviors that you can attach yourself to, that gives you that level of comfort and peace, that lets you know he's headed somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you see steps of him heading that place every day. Not he's heading somewhere because I want him to be this, and I know he could be if he did A, B, C, D, and D, E. This other person is doing A, B, C, D, and E, and he's climbing. That's potential. This other thing is a hope and a dream. And you need all of it. You need dreams, hopes, and all of that. I'm not downing one over the other. I'm just saying don't call them the same and don't treat them the same way.
Right. So let's loop it back around to the beginning. We done been here an hour, but
oh Lord,
how can she find her high value man? So
one,
let's go ahead. Yeah.
It's not just about who he is. It's about who you are. So when you start talking about how you can find a high value man, one, you have to define what that is and know what you're actually looking for. And don't make it just about money, because again, that's not going to do it. The other thing is you have to put yourself in positions where you can meet high value people. If you want a high value man that's going to value you, then you have to put yourself in situations where you can meet those kinds of people. The high value man that you're talking about that has a sustainable income, that is able to engulf you into their world, bring you into their world, and wrap themselves around you in relationship, that kind of person, that you're not going to meet them the same place you meet some of these other folks. They're not going to be in the same places. So what does that mean for you? You have to make yourself visible in those places, but you got to fit in there, which means you have to have done some things. You need to bring yourself up to a level where you can walk into the same rooms and belong, because that's where you're going to see that. You have to present yourself as someone who brings value as well. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
I just remember this. Somebody was like, when you're talking about high value or luxury, it is hard to reach, hard to obtain, exclusivity. You go to a club, it's not everybody can't get access to it.
Right.
So
agree.
That's what. So if I'm saying I'm a rich man, I'm not going to be dealing with the ordinary, what everybody done drove.
Right.
Right.
So you don't want the car everybody's been driving.
If you're looking for a high value person, you got to be something that high value person is looking for.
Right. And I will tell you, that's what I meant by making yourself ready to walk into those rooms and belong. Because you have to fix you first, because high value men are looking for people that are going to add value to them as well. They're not there for you just to add value to you. Like, I'm a high value man, so I'm gonna look for some trash and add value to it. No, that's called ministry. You're an assignment. You're not a partner. You're an assignment, and you don't want to be anybody's assignment. Not in the romantic world, but you have to make yourself visible. And when I say visible, that's not being loud and all over the place and all of that. You have to make yourself visible, as in you are standing out in a room where you belong, because you've leveled up. Because again, they're not looking for people that they have to try to bring to the top. And you have to be able to fit into the environment that you want to be in.
Oh my goodness. It is.
And that's important. That's important. Now, back to what we said in the beginning, though. He can't have 6 kids and then don't want you to have 6, because that's that double standard again, too.
Yeah.
So that's
I know this can get under your skin.
Oh.
But where
I'm ready. I'm tight.
They say a lot of the football players and the basketball players, they pick white women because a lot of times they fit in those areas of what you're talking about. They know how to act in these rooms. They know how to act in these places where they're going to be invited to. And some other people, like, they have no clue. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to fit in. They don't, like you said, they're not going to bring value to them. They got to be making excuses for certain people. So that's another, it's getting prepared to be, if you want to be high value, if you want to be in this place, you need to be prepared to go there, not meet the guy, and then he got to paint you up and tell you how to dress and tell you how to talk and everything, then get you ready. No, you got to be ready. And probably what you said, already be. Figure out a way to already be there for him to see you there.
Right. And you have to, and like you said, the whole get a white woman thing. Yeah. Okay. That's a whole nother story. Because my thought on that is, I think you can get any woman who is going to meet you in the right place. The difference is a lot of women are groomed from the beginning to walk into those spaces for that. If you don't believe me, exactly. If you don't believe me, check a Kardashian resume. Groomed. So I'm not suggesting that you do that. What I'm suggesting is that you become the person that you're looking for. You have to become the person that you're looking for so that you can fit into those circles and into those spaces. There are a lot of places that you don't ever want to be with someone who can't take you somewhere. That's it. They can't. They're just like, I got to go to this by myself, babe, because I don't know what you're going to say. I don't know how you're going to act, whatever. You don't ever want to be that person. And people who are truly in a space where they're not looking for a project, they're not looking for an assignment, they're not looking for something to try to, American Girl doll. They're not trying to make you into something else. And they want companionship that is genuine and that is caring and careful, and that they can be honest and vulnerable with. They have to trust that you understand what to do with those kind of things, and that you can walk into these spaces with them and not embarrass them. And that's why some of you have a high value man that drop by sometime and might buy you a little something here or there. But inviting you into his world, you have to fit there. You have to fit there. And sometimes that means you have to start working on you now. You have to start working on you now, because it's only so much twerking and booty shaking and jumping up and down and swinging around a pole or whatever you want to do to keep his attention. That can only last for so long. What happens when you have to sit down and make a decision or have a discussion or figure something out? What happens? What if he needs you to handle something and you can't even read it and understand it and comprehend it? That's a situation.
Yes. And you just mentioned something. I think a lot of our young ladies need to understand that the women that's a lot of times half naked, twerking, they may be getting all the attention, but that's entertainment. A lot of those guys, that is entertainment. That's never going to be wifey. That's never going to be wifey. That's just entertainment. So now the younger people looking at that, hey, they looking at that and they getting all the attention, so I need to do the same thing. Those guys, that's entertainment.
Yeah,
that's not wife. That's not what they're looking for a wife.
Yeah, why do you think they come
model?
Yeah, they come and they look at that stuff and then they go home. They go home, and you can't go with them. You can't. Now they might take you to a hotel, but they're getting up and going home. They're going home. And then you're like, well, look, she home and he over here with me. You really proud of that? You really proud of that? Don't be proud. Don't be proud, because that's a decision that he's making, that he is going home to the person that can do those things that you can't do. And yeah, you may be meeting a need, but is that all you want to be? Is that really all you want to be? Do you really only want to be known for meeting a sexual need, or be in the place where he can slap somebody or push them around or do something like that and then buy you a purse? Is that what you really want? Or do you really want something else and you feel like that's the road to get it? I will tell you now, it's not. It's not. And Joe, you're on here. You're a man. You're an attractive gentleman.
Am I?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what Cherie said. I'm just saying what she said. Cherie said. But if you tell me, Am I wrong there? With
No,
that's not who you take into the house.
that's what I'm saying. That's my point. I think a lot of the women, especially young women, thinking because those people are getting all that attention, that's what the men want.
No, it's
No.
not. It's not long term. They
Yeah,
want you, but they
but
want
yeah,
you for a purpose.
yeah,
To meet
that's
to meet a need. And it may
that
be
short term purpose.
right.
Yeah,
And you can say, well, he over here with me and his wife home and 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 you
you
bragging about that. Yeah, you're meeting a need. Well, if she was doing what she was supposed to do. Well,
that's
what
just
she's supposed to do is be in that house with that mortgage and not be sneaking around at night and can go buy whatever she want to do and all that. That's what she's supposed to be doing. And he's the one that's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. But she doing what she's supposed to do. And you may just be an easy target, something that's easy to get, easy to grab, easy fruit. And he may have to work a little harder with his wife. She may require some things of him that you don't require, like responsibility, respect. She may require that of him and you don't. And that makes it hard. And it may be even hard to hear. But the truth is, you're not doing nothing by screwing that man. Nothing.
and there's so many
You
feel
know.
like if I can do this, he's gonna fall in love with me, and I'm gonna be the main one. Nope.
Yeah, no.
That's not. And then I did Miss Reese did a reaction to it. It was a lady. She came to the house to say that she was a chick on the side,
Oh.
and the wife was like, "I'm staying with my man."
I did. Congratulations.
You could, yeah, okay. You cheated with my husband. He's still my husband. He ain't leaving me. You can stand outside and scream all you want. We gonna work this out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that lady thought she thought if I go to the house and tell her that he was cheating with me, he's gonna be mine. He went home to his wife and his family.
Kids. Right.
Yeah.
And when he got there, he's begging her not to leave him. He's begging her. All you did is just empower her. While you think you rubbing it in her face, you empowered her. What you did now is you made her the queen that she actually has always been. You just validated it because then she's able to show you what class looks like. Because even if they did have an issue, I'm not going to share it with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to share it with you. He and I need to deal with that. And when he and I deal with it, you won't be a part of that. You won't be a part of that. So I remember one day, I'm going to tell this quick story. It was so funny. I have a girlfriend. I'm not going to call her name. And it was so funny. We were playing a joke on her and she was getting out of the car. I'll never forget it. She was at Dillard's getting out of the car. And one of my girlfriends was driving. I was in the passenger seat and I told her, pull around. And I said, when she pulled around behind her car, she was getting out of the car. My girlfriend pulled up behind her. She didn't see me sitting in the passenger seat. And she said, hey, are you so-and-so? Or what you doing? Why are you driving so-and-so's car? And she said, what? She said, because I'm his wife. She said, wait a minute. Are you one of his whores? She said, well, I'm his wife. And by the time she got that close, she looked down and saw I was laughing. I was, me, I'm ignorant. So I was cracking up. And she like, girl, I thought that was some of the ones, because they women pull up on you like that. And you have to just put them in their place. And like, she said, I put my, and I'm going to Dillard's and buying what I want to buy in our car. And that was it. And it was so funny because her thing was, I don't know who this is, but I'm unbothered by you. I'm unbothered by you. And her words were, it was so funny. And I won't call their names, but because a lot of people know who they are. But she was like, are you one of his whores? And she looked at it. By the time she said I was already cracking up. Because she was like, oh, are you one of his whores? She's like, well, I'm his wife. and I'm driving our car, and I'm about to go in here and purchase some things that I'd like to have, and by this time I'm rolling. I am like rolling. And she like, Kathy, I can't believe you said, girl, you so, and I was like, it was funny. It was just funny. It was worth it to me. It was worth it to me. It was worth it to me. But the whole point of that is she was unbothered. She was unbothered. People know who they're married to. They know who they're married to. But they also have made some decisions about what it is, how they're going to live their life with or without this person. And you never play, you're never a part of, you're not even a part of that. Not even a part of that. You're not a part of that equation. So, it's when you talk about high value, you really got to define what that means. And you certainly have to understand what your value is before you start assessing value as it relates to other people, because you don't know what that person's like behind closed doors. You don't know what else is there, and money is just not enough. So if your goal is to find somebody that's like that, become that person. Become what you're looking for. And if you become what you're looking for, then it'll be easier for you to find it, because you'll be in the same circles, you'll be in the same room. These men aren't hiding. They're just not where you are. Mm-hmm. So you have to get yourself in a position where you can be in the rooms and have the conversations that they're having, and then it'll be easier for you to find them. But they're not hiding. They're out there. They're out there. High value men are out there. But high value men are looking for people to add value to them.
I got to throw a curveball.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of people don't agree with what I'm about to say, but I believe a lot of women have a high value man. That high value man may cheat or cheated, and they got rid of that high value man. Mm-hmm. So this is my definition. If a man makes a mistake, is different from a cheater that does it on a regular basis. I believe a man that cheats can be fixed and you can keep him. But I think a lot of people, okay, he cheated, so it's grounds for divorce. It's all over. I'm getting rid of you. And then they spend the rest of their life trying to find another man when they had one that could have been fixed. But the rules on the street is he cheated, so you're supposed to end it. So my thing is, if you got a cheater or somebody that cheated, it's two different things. So I think a lot of single women gave up good men over a situation over than them being that type of person.
So, Joe, that's a good one. So, you got to know what your personal limits are. Some people, people ask all the time when I'm working with a client or something to that effect, they'll ask, why does he treat me this way? And I not leave, or I'm not leaving, or I'm still here. And, you'll hear people that are in abusive relationships and they won't leave. And then you'll hear people who, he hit me one time and I'm out. Like we over, you're not going to do that to me. People have different thresholds for different areas in their lives. And some things are deal breakers for some people that aren't deal breakers for others. I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon about stay or go when a situation like that occurs, because I think your threshold has to, people need to meet that threshold, whatever that happens to be, whatever your low point is, your high point is for your relationships. Those are all individual. So, there may even be some things that you'll take off one person that you wouldn't take off another, which, again, makes me question your standard, because is it a standard? Is it not a standard? But
I just want to interrupt you, but a lot of times I think it's coming from society and your friends. I think a lot of times the friends that you hang around tell you need to leave him because of this, or you can have other friends like, no, you can work it out. So I think it's on that person, but also I think it's a lot of what's coming in and coming at them.
Yeah. So again, that's why you have to make sure that your circle is tight, because and really be clear on where you're getting your information from, especially when you're in a decision making stage. You can't get people who are shaky in all areas of their lives to come bring you some stability in a shaken up area of your own. Like their lives are raggedy and you want them to come and help you be stable or pull your things back on track. They really need to be over there trying to get their train on track. So I would say that it's interesting, but it's also honest when you say that there are situations where sometimes people will accept things from some people, but they can't accept them from others. And you have to figure out where's your line? Where does your line start? And it has to be your line. Because if you're trying to live on somebody else's line, where you are and what you're trying to pretend, where you're trying to pretend you are, none of those things gonna ever match. You're gonna constantly be doing this because the true you and what you're pretending, they don't match. So they're gonna have to come together, which means the position that you take on something has to be your position alone. It can't be your position based on what your friends think you should do or what they don't think you should do. Because a lot of people, like we talked about, Peter and Judas, for instance, you got Judas. We've said, Peter had a bad day. Judas was a bad person. You know what I'm saying? So you can have a bad day, you can have a bad situation and not be a bad person.
Yeah.
So understand that's a truism, but the other part of it is you can be a bad person and have good moments. So you think about the person who says, I love my kids, but you're looking at them and you're saying this person doesn't know how to love, but they see their kids and you can't separate them and they'll go to war for their children. Knowing that you have people with all these nuances, you're never going to always match everything up perfectly. So you have to be solid in yourself so that the other person, and give the other person space to be solid in themselves, and then try to bring all that together to have a functional relationship. But it can't be based on what anybody outside of that union thinks about it, because they don't live inside of it. They don't live inside. It's like the shell telling the yolk what to do. The shell can't tell the yolk what to do because the shell is outside of what's going on with the yolk. So you're going to have to make sure that whatever's outside of you is not so influential that it keeps you from being in tune with what you're really saying about yourself or what you're really saying to yourself. And the true you, because that true you is what is the only thing that's going to stand when all the fluff goes away.
Right. And it sounds like what's the statement of you could tell what kind of life you will have. I don't think I'm saying it right, but you can tell what kind of life you will have by the 5 people that's closest to you.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right.
And if your 5 close friends, all of them broke up and single, and it's not working out.
Yep.
You can imagine what kind of advice you're gonna be getting.
Yep.
That's gonna guide your relationship. You're not gonna be thinking it, but still they have some influence on your relationship.
Of course. And their words mean their words value if their words are valuable to you, because if they weren't, you wouldn't be soliciting them, or you wouldn't listen when you get them unsolicited. Because I have a couple friends that I don't have to ask; they just gonna say whatever they want to say, and I'm just like, did I ask you for advice or information? But if you look at your 5, look at your closest 5. That generally is going to tell you what your life looks like. That's generally it. You look at your closest 5 friends, and that'll help you decide or give you a look into who you are.
And so if none of your 5 friends got a high value man, I'll tell you.
I think everybody should have standards. So listen, I do not want to leave this call without saying, I believe you should have standards. I just think that you should be bringing something to the table that means that.
And I'm separating standards and a high value. I'm looking at 2 different things, because you can have a high value man and He don't have no standard.
And he doesn't have standards.
He don't have
Exactly.
standards.
Exactly. But you also want to be connected to what you're attracted to. You just got to be attracted to it for the right reason. So again, if it's just money, that could be a whole mess. I know a lot of people with a lot of money, and some of them are not good people. You wouldn't want to be connected to them.
Yeah,
you wouldn't.
That's and I see that's what it goes back to that. I think about the football players and those people under a whole lot of stress. And comes to my mind, Tom Brady. Was it Tom Brady? You know how many years he focused on football, and it's what? Well, she said it was the guy that she worked out in the gym, but either way,
right?
Like, he didn't spend enough time with me. He didn't spend enough time, but you expecting him to be the best in the world. It's going to take away from home life to be able to fulfill that high value level.
Right.
So you got to give up something for him to get to that.
Right. Or to maintain it.
And to maintain it. So it was something she had to give up. I guess she didn't want to give up that,
right.
He's not spending. And then I look at, like I said, using him as an example, that was all the limelight, the cheering and the articles and being on the news, and he retired. It was took a chunk out of him.
Yeah.
So that's why he had to go out and retire. He needed it. And she was like, if you go back, I'm divorcing you. But it was still, he hadn't weaned himself off of it yet.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't willing, but I guess she had a backup plan.
Yeah, she clearly had a plan.
Yeah, so I think that was kind of, I think it's still me, my opinion. I think she should have, if she had not had another person on the side, she could have worked with him to wean him off of that. That's what got you where you are.
Yeah.
That drive and that pull.
Yeah.
So now he's still addicted. I don't know if that's the right word. Addicted.
No,
it is.
It is. Uh-huh.
Everything, all of it, the working out and going, all of it was him.
It was his routine. That's that was his identity. It became he was no longer Tom Brady, the person. He was he was a football player.
Right.
That's what he was. So that became his identity. And of course he couldn't separate himself from who he had become. Right.
And that's why I feel like, that type of high value, that it takes more than just an ordinary person to go through. So it takes an extraordinary woman and vice versa to put up with that. I mean, it was a judge, this black judge on TV, divorce court, I think.
Which one? Cutler? Judge Cutler?
I can't think of her name. But
Lynn.
Lynn, yes. Uh-huh. And she was saying how her husband is not making nowhere near any kind of money that she makes, no fame or anything. But I think he had, like she said, he had if I'm telling the story right, he had kids.
Yes.
And she still married him, and she said it's working out. They love each other, but she has she's the high value woman in the situation, and he's dealing with her, so he's nowhere near the limelight. But it's the pressure she's under, and he's there to support her.
Right.
So it could go both ways, but a lot of times it's the women trying to support the high value man, but both of them have to go through that together.
Yeah, and there's the other side of that too is, there are a lot of women who, we have worked hard and we've accomplished a lot. And we have these things, we have things, we've acquired things, we have jobs, we have positions, we have, a network, we have associations, there are all these things that we have worked hard to get. And people sometimes will look down on us for having a standard as well, and saying, like, why won't you just take the man that's trying real hard and all this other stuff. It's hard. It's really hard when you've dug yourself out of something and you end up in a space where you're now accomplished, it's really hard for you to open yourself up to a person who doesn't seem to have that same drive, or doesn't seem
Right.
to have something to bring to the table. Because we've been taught for forever, don't take care of no man to take care of himself. So
Yeah.
I know I've said, I don't need you to take care of me, but you are going to take care of you. Like, you're not coming here and I take care of you and me. That's not how this works. And I just personally, I know this sounds whatever. I don't even care how it sounds, because bottom line is it's true. I have a standard when it comes to that. I don't have the bandwidth to try to ramp up your 52-year-old rapper trying to get, still trying to get on a label. Like I don't have that kind of energy. Like, I don't have that kind of time. And the same thing applies. I have to be able to take you places. You have to be able to have some conversations. You have to be able to fit into these circles that I'm in, because that's what attracts you to me. And if you're attracted to me in those spaces, then I would want someone who I can take into those spaces. And if you aren't bringing that to the table, like I even asked one person before, it's like, tell me something. What did I do that made you think that it was okay for you to approach me like that? Like, what did I do? What message did I send to you that made you think that's okay? And I'm gonna tell you something. Broke down people, them the most confident people in the world. They're the most confident people in the world. And I just like, what made you think that was gonna be okay? Like, what did I do? Because I need to not do that anymore. What is it? So, there is a standard that we hold to, women hold to sometimes. And we got to be honest that we're sometimes bashed and battered for that. Well, why you won't give a brother a chance? And why you won't, you're 50 and you kind of still trying to find yourself. Like, I ain't got time to help you find yourself. Like, I don't want to help you find yourself. I want you to be found. I want you to be found.
And I kind of, if I can call them, it's a lot of high value women, kind of with, got a nice career, got a lot of money. I see a lot of them online, traveling the world, doing all these different things, single, can't find a man. And it's like the opposite. It's like a high value man. Women are out there, but a lot of, I'm just saying, just using the word high value man.
No, I got you.
High value woman is not. Her opportunities go down, and I think one of them is either some men feel like.
Let's see if you're gonna be honest. Go on and say it.
No, well, I feel like you already experienced everything. I can't show you anything.
So you want me to now navigate your insecurities, which is again hard.
I'm just saying
it's hard because now I'm responsible for navigating your insecurities, which is a whole problem for me. Like, you have to come whole. Like, now, so when you say that, like, well, I can't give you anything. Have you tried? Like, that is the biggest cop out. That is the biggest.
That's what they. I haven't had that, but I'm saying I believe that's what men. That's what men feel like. Okay, I want to grab her by the shoulder and take her and like, but she was like, oh, I saw that already. I took myself there already. I did that.
But you know what? The thing
what
is,
I got to show you.
No, it's a whole world that you've not seen and I've not seen. That's where conversation comes in. That's where relationship comes in. That's where building together comes in. And I can't fight through your insecurities to make you okay with that. No, you may have to use your imagination. No, you can't take me to Disney World and say, hey, you can't put me on a Bahamas cruise and say we're going on a cruise to the Bahamas. Yay. And if we're going on a cruise to the Bahamas for the weekend just because we want to get away, that's one thing. But no, I'm not going to walk around Bahamas like I ain't never been there before. But we can have a conversation about that and say, hey, I've been there 100 times. So have you. why don't we try something we've not done before? And let's pick a map, get a map out, and let's find something. Or let's say we both been to Bahamas a million times, but I just want to get away for the weekend. It's a quick trip. Let's just go. Let's just jump on this quick cruise. That's different. But that comes in knowing the person that you're attached to and being man enough to have a conversation about what you've considered to be your vulnerabilities and limitations. And that's an issue that you have to work out as a man. I can't help you do that. I can't help you feel comfortable talking to me. Like that's a burden that I shouldn't have to carry. So now, do I have to open that door and make that available to you? Absolutely. That I do have to carry, because I can't be so closed off to you that I make you feel that I'm impossible. But what I won't do is pretend that you don't have to come out of a different bag with me, because no, you're not going to be able to get my nails done. And then I just feel like you the best thing since, I mean, I got to stand an appointment for that I've been doing for 20 years.
So men should come that way. But I think some of the women are, I don't need a man. I got everything I need. I don't need a man. I want a man. I don't need a man. But if you're saying you don't need a man, how does he approach? How does he even
understanding that he's not a need, he's a want, and understanding that and understanding that I can need you for something other than your money. So no, I don't need you to take me on a vacation. I can take myself on a vacation. What I need you to do is be companionship for me, and I need you to be safe for me, and I need you to be a space where I can be vulnerable and be honest and be true, and to share what's on my heart and share my dreams and my visions. And yeah, that requires you to be a little deeper than pulling out your money, pulling out your wallet. So men at that level, you got to go a little bit deeper. You got to go a little bit deeper. Yes, I can go buy my own purse, but it doesn't mean I don't want you to buy me one. So let's talk about that thing. Instead of you saying, well, she already got that, I could never get her something. Yeah, you can. I might have the blue one and I may want the green one. You know, that could be something different. Or like I said, yeah, well, I know I can go on this cruise, but she done been there 1,000 times. Maybe I want to go back. Let's talk about it. But the fact that you come with all of these limitations on yourself, that we're not imposing those on you. Those are your assumptions. And those are things that you have to work through, because I can't carry that burden of fighting everything that's in your head and all of your imaginations. Those things you have to deal with. And my suggestion would be that you just try it. Just say, hey, understand that it's okay for you to be a want. It's okay for you to, and then know that you can be needed for something other than your money.
I'm trying to figure out, I'm just thinking what type man. I'm thinking about one man has got money. Mm-hmm. He may feel like, oh, she's on my level, or maybe she might be a little bit above my level. I want somebody that makes less. And then I'm thinking of other men, oh, she doesn't, where it's two types. One, if she makes more, he might feel insecure and don't want to bother with her. Mm-hmm. And another one, hey, she got money, let me see what I can get out of her, and she could detect that a mile away. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to figure out, where would this man be to meet these women that's like, got it all together, I'm good to go, I'm good with or without you. I don't even see how, where would she even?
Well, I want to clear that, because it's not I'm good with or without you. I would prefer to be with you, but I would prefer to be with you with you being comfortable being with me. Like, again, I don't want to have to convince you every single day that you're worthy of me. That's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. That is a lot of work, and that's hard, and it's time consuming, and it's stressful, and I don't want to do that. I want you to be confident enough to say, hey, I know you can do this on your own, but you can't do this, or let that not even be a thing that we have to discuss. We both already know it, so that's okay, but it doesn't change the fact that I want you to do certain things. I can take out trash, but I don't want to. I mean, there are a lot of things that I can do that I would prefer that somebody else does. So, and I think that's where, because, and this is, I've never been a man, so I can't say this other than just my speculation, but that's what makes men uncomfortable, is that often they're so accustomed to being able to put some money on something when it comes to women, and it changes, and it kind of gives them this leverage. And when she doesn't need that, it's like, oh shoot, now what do I do? Well, that's on you. You got to step your game up. You got to realize I got to be deeper than my money. I gotta bring more value, because for me, that's not high value to me. I'm not looking, when I think high value, I'm thinking about, what do you add to me? What do you add? What value do you bring? What do you do to make me feel safe? What do you do to make me feel secure? What is it that you do to make me feel loved and valued and valuable and important to you, to make me a priority? What do you do to make that happen? Not whether you can take me to a restaurant and, or drive a fancy car to do it. Like that's not. So it does make, a lot of times it makes men uncomfortable, because they got to be deeper than their wallet.
But
and it's scary.
Yeah, and I think a lot of men, you were taught you're supposed to take care of her. You're supposed to take care of your woman. You're supposed to be the provider. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do it. And now you don't need to do all that. Well, what else am I supposed to do? I mean, what do I do if I don't supposed to do this? And if I don't have to do that, what do I do?
But you do. That's what I'm saying. You do still have to do it. You do have to do it. It's just different. You still have to do that. She still needs you to take care of her. She still needs to not worry about certain things. She still wants you to be on top of it. She still needs that. Just because I can pay my own car note doesn't mean that I don't need you to do something. It's just the needs are different. And because you've been accustomed to still take care of everything, I still want you. Because I can don't mean I want to. I don't pay the mortgage. Can I? Yeah. Do I? That's your will. That's your stuff. Well, that sounds like your stuff. So it doesn't mean that I can't. It just means that I don't have to. Can you imagine the weight that takes off? It's tremendous. So it doesn't mean that you can't still add value. There are lots of ways to do that. And because you're so accustomed to it coming out of your wallet, because that works with other people, when you see somebody that you think may not need that, it makes you uncomfortable. And it shouldn't. You just have to take a minute and say, okay, so now how do I bring value to her? Because the whole thing, all of it should be about you bringing value into a union, into a relationship. So what then do you bring? And it may be, yes, she may not need your dollar, but she definitely needs to be able to cry on your shoulder when she can't cry anywhere else and feel safe in doing that. She definitely needs to know that if I come in and say, I can't do this anymore, that you like, okay, babe, I got it. Don't worry about it. Let's talk. Let's talk through it.
Yeah. I guess I can imagine a lot of famous women going through that, in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. But again, that's because, again, the mindset is, if I can't do it with money, then how else do I do it? And that's something that you have to take the time to figure out. So yeah, you may not be able to, and still pay a bill. Just because I can don't mean I want to. Just because I can doesn't mean I want to.
Yeah.
Or that I don't value you for doing it.
Yeah, I've seen, it's all sorts of crazy stuff. I saw one where both had money. The husband got into a situation where he lost his job. He just asked his wife for some money, temporarily. She was like, no, I ain't got to give you none of my money. You supposed to do it, and it's all on you, and blah blah blah.
Wow.
So she
Wow.
left him because he came into a financial situation.
Yeah,
So
that's not partnership.
yeah, that's he was the type that he wanted to do it. He wanted to be, or he was like, let me borrow it. Just borrow it. I'll give you your money back. You're like, but it's just like I said, it's different situations.
Yeah.
Like some have that situation where, hey, yeah, I got the money, but you the man. Everything got to come from you. I'm not helping. You got to go figure it out.
Yeah, that's not good. And again, that's not about relationship. That really is about situationships, and that that's not relationship, because again, your relationship should be sturdy enough that says that if there's something that's not going right, we have to come together and solve the problem, whatever that problem happens to be, and then you solve it and you move forward. You don't fail backwards, you fail forward. So,
and as far as marriage, it's that oneness.
Yes.
You're not one if you don't have the money. It's we.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes from you to us.
Mm-hmm.
We should be in this thing together. And I guess it's
Agreed.
money let you know
Agreed.
if y'all in there together or not.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That is really hard. Oh, that's a hard one. But I think if people could really just get down to the very basics and just say, what is our goal in this? And how can we collectively get to that goal? I think it'll help us really focus on the things that matter most, as opposed to attaching a physical value to your engagement and relationship. I just think that there's no way to put a physical value on that. You can't put a money value on relationship and companionship and intimacy. You just can't. So if you manage to do that, it's kind of like a bad road to prostitution, almost, or pimping, because it's like you got to pay for the happiness. And in actuality, there should be a space where you grow together, and where you carry each other, and where you help each other, and you fill in gaps for each other. And all of that should be happening without fear, hesitation, and feeling as though you'll be gaslighted or manipulated in some way or another.
Yes, a lot of work needs to be done in our society.
Yeah, it does.
That's my goal. Like if we can go back, and you educator, congratulations again on your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's where, when I look at all the different things going on, I'm like, a lot of stuff we can't fix that. But if we go back to the ones at the beginning, and try to change them, so they won't come and end up in the same situation. Like we asked before, you don't have to always learn from your mistakes. We're trying to keep you from doing some of these mistakes.
Right.
This is the outcome. You don't have to do that. We're avoiding this outcome. We want you to be on this path, to be that high valued man, to be that high valued woman.
Right.
And not
have to settle
for scraps.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that needs to, I think if we took some time and just said, what are the 20 most important lessons that kids should learn today? And we just kind of generated a list and go through those. I think that would be so helpful, because there are a lot of things where our value has been tied to our worth, and our value has been tied to our level of performance, as though you have to earn the space to exist. And that's just not fair. It's not true. And it's also not fair. But it puts us in a very awkward position where we feel like we're constantly having to fight our ways out of a box. And it's an unnecessary box. So I think if we start working with young girls and letting them know the value that they bring to the table without it, without having to perform some sort of a ritual to be accepted, then they'll be will equip them to be able to stand on their own and not have to settle at any point down the road.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to our title again, finding my high value man. I think we shouldn't be looking for a high value man. You should be looking for your man, your purpose man that's gonna, you know who you are,
Right.
find that person. So whatever level, wherever they are. So it's, I guess, like you said, if you're searching after that high value man, you're starting off with the money. You're not even looking at the person.
Right.
You're looking at
Right.
what they're able to provide. What can he do for me? But a true marriage is what can we do together for each other.
Exactly.
So it's really, so that looking for the high value, look for the value, monetary is not what you should be looking for.
Right.
You should be looking for that partner, my high
Right.
value partner,
Exactly.
my
Exactly.
purpose partner.
My purpose partner, and that's it. And that's the connection that you should be making, and that's the connection that will carry you through. Everything else, it rides a roller coaster. Like I said, if your values are flexible, so is your relationship. If it's unstable, so is your relationship. So if they're questionable, so is your relationship. So you just have to be mindful that you have decisions to make. Some you will get through lessons that other people can teach you through example. And then there's some lessons that are hard ones that you have to learn on your own, or that you choose to learn on your own. But in either case, make sure you have the right person with you, and it'll make all the difference in the world.
And no decision. I'm just, how much time? We're almost at 2 hours. But I just want some people feel like I don't have to make a decision, but no decision is a decision.
It's a decision. Oh yeah. No, you do have to make a decision.
It gets a lot of people in bad situations.
Yeah.
Bad decision, like, oh, I didn't make a decision. You made a choice.
Yep.
Or just whatever happened, let it happen. No, that's still a decision too. There's still gonna be some consequences.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people live their life like that, though. They just, I guess, willy-nilly, let's just go out there, let's have fun. Whatever happens.
That is crazy.
And you got to deal and live with the consequences.
Yep.
So if we got to deal and live with the consequences, we should have our mind made up on what our choice is going to be before we do what we do.
Right. And weigh them all. weigh all your consequences, so that you'll know what decision to make and what the impact of it is going to be. Because for every decision, there's a consequence. I'm telling you, for everything, there's a consequence. And you, positive, negative, good or bad, something is a result of something else that occurs. That's just how the world keeps moving forward.
And that's where it comes with young people. I say that young people got bad eyesight. They can't see that far down the road. And older people, we see way down. We see.
Yeah.
We can see years.
Yes.
We can see years, and then young people, they can't even see past a week.
Right.
So you got bad eyesight. You can't see, and we're trying to tell you we can see what's happening.
What's coming?
See what's at the end of it. But
it's not because we've been perfect. We see it because we've experienced it, or we've known other people that have. So that's the other thing. I don't want anyone to walk away thinking that, somehow you get this wisdom by just being through osmosis and being smart. No, these are experiences. You've lived through some things, and it allows you to be able to say, I learned from that the last time. I'm not going to repeat that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you don't have to do it. You don't have to go through this.
And neither do you. Exactly.
You can learn from my story.
Mm-hmm.
I always say I've never dealt with drugs, thankfully. I tell this crazy story. I found a joint one day, and I had to make a decision. I'm going to smoke it or I'm going to sell it. I decided to try to sell it. I was like, I can make some money. I ain't trying to get no high. I want to make some money.
See,
I don't know what happened, but that was my decision in life to make.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
But and I already saw. I was like, hey, I didn't see my cousins, I didn't see my uncles and stuff smoking it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go down that road.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, I think a lot of the young people, like I said, they don't see.
Yeah.
And the adults are trying to tell them, you're gonna deal with the consequences. There are gonna be consequences of your choices.
Yeah.
And then yes, and then if you never learn how to make good decisions at a younger age and you get older, you still, that's what trips me out when somebody 30, 40 years old talking about they still learning from their mistakes. Like, well, good Lord, man, what you waiting on? What?
I get it. You know, I can understand. You know,
You
I
50,
understand.
you still,
Yeah.
you ain't learned yet?
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
We can't help you too much. Like,
Right. Exactly.
you've been making the same choices over and over and over again.
Over and over and over again. Yep.
It just happened. No, ain't nothing just happened.
Nothing. Not one thing. Not one thing. Nothing just happened. Not one
So that's sad. Have these old children.
Yes. Yes, 50, 60 years old. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Trust me, I get it. Oh my gosh, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Well, all right. We done went all around the world talking about all different types of relationships. So I can give you what's your final word?
I would say that I would if I had to leave you with anything, it would be that, make sure that when you are defining a high value man, that you define him as something more than his financial status, because that's fleeing too. And make sure that you bring to the table what you're looking for. We often want to have these standards that are up here, and it's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, because I have them too. I get it. So, but you have to make sure that you bring something equally valuable to him to the table. And it's got to be more than your body. It's got to be more than that, because the people that most people consider to be high value men, they can get body from anybody. It's what else do you bring to the table? And how long are you willing to work on yourself to put yourself in those rooms? Because they're not hiding from you. High value men are not hiding. They're not hiding. They're just in places that maybe you're not visiting. So get yourself in those rooms and get yourself ready to go into those rooms, and then put yourself in those rooms, and you'll meet the person that you're supposed to be connected to.
Amen. Be who you want to meet.
Be who you want to meet. Be that person.
Be that person.
And get to where they are. Where they are consistently, not where they are that one night that he saw you in the club and he has never been in a club before, or that he only drops in there when it's time to find somebody who's willing to take a quick ride.
Be who you want them to be.
Right.
And be where you want them to be.
Exactly. And make yourself the person who can walk in those spaces comfortably, walk in those spaces and belong.
All right. No, that's a lot. Something to think about.
Yep, it's a lot to think about.
Some people can reevaluate their life, just thinking about some of the choices and decisions that was made over the years.
Yeah, and we all make mistakes, but give that same grace, because again, you can't come, with 32 kids behind you and drama, bags and bags and bags of drama, and then want him to be drama free.
Mm-hmm.
No, you've lived a life, so is he. So extend some grace, and then look beyond that money, because again, you can have that and still be miserable. You really can.
All right. I thank you. Hold on. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right. I hope y'all enjoyed our long conversation. We start off as, where is your high valued man? We talked about all types of relationship and situations. So I know if you missed it, I saw people coming in and coming out on the watching. I see my eyeballs popping in, different people coming in. So if you didn't see it, you got to go back to the top, watch it again, and let us know what you think. We made some controversial statements. Let us know what you think. Like, follow, share. Until next time, let Joe out. I'm supposed to be gone, but the thing not doing right. Bye.